Let's see if we can find an Arizona milk snake. Hold on a second. In my last video about Arizona milk snakes, we came so close to actually finding the rare Arizona milk snake in the wild. Our research and perseverance finally paid off, but unfortunately, all we were able to find were 3 roadkill milk snakes. I will forever have this haunting image etched on my mind. If you haven't yet watched that video, you should watch that video first. In this video, I will try once again to find the rare Arizona milk snake. Will I be able to find it this time, or will I fail once again? Okay, we are getting ready to head out on our milk snake herping trip. It rained here in the Phoenix area, and of course where we're headed is a few hours away. But it did rain in the area that we're headed to. So hopefully it doesn't rain tonight. I don't want it to be too wet. So we are getting ready to head out. So these are our wheels. Nothing fancy. Corolla, cheap gas. Cheap, or good gas mileage anyway. Keep our gas bill down. Here's our herpers. There's Olivia. There's Trish. And we are getting ready to head off for our adventure. Here we are. We have arrived in milk snake country. The sun is setting. The weather seems to be cooperating, with scattered thunderstorms in the distance, but not right over us. It has been 12 months since we were last in the area, but the memory of the near successes from last year are still fresh in my mind. Will this year finally be the year? The anticipation is building as we wait for the first snake of the evening, the first snake of the trip. On the first day of our last trip, we found a roadkill milk snake that had probably been hit when it was just a few minutes later than what it is right now. I know that we're very close to finding one. This will be the year that I find my first Arizona milk snake. Okay, here we are with the first snake of the night, the first snake of the trip, a Mojave rattlesnake. This is not a surprise at all. Mojave rattlesnakes have been a frequent find in this area in past years. I always appreciate every snake that I find, even if it isn't my target animal. Finding snakes can sometimes be difficult, and it is worth it to me to spend a little bit of time with each snake that I find and enjoy the process of looking for my target animal. The rest of our first night, the air cooled down, and we only ended up seeing this road-killed Sonoran gopher snake, a cute little Mexican spadefoot, and one more road-killed Sonoran gopher snake. The next morning, we found this beautiful Sonoran gopher snake crossing the road. Sonoran gopher snakes, even though you can find them at night, prefer to be active during daylight. During the warmer summer months, this often means that they're active early in the morning before it gets too hot. This one is a little bit agitated. Some cars have driven by that have frightened it, and then it doesn't really appreciate us either, even though we likely save this snake from oncoming cars. Usually, once you have them in hand, they tend to become a little bit more relaxed. See what I mean? This snake has now become quite photogenic, but I have to be a little bit careful still because sudden movements can still trigger a bite from an otherwise agitated Sonoran gopher snake. It's now time to let our new friend go. Check out this pretty little whiptail lizard darting among the rocks. What a beautiful blue tail. I believe this is a baby plateau striped whiptail. We stopped and had lunch, or maybe it was dinner, and then waited for the sun to set. Our first snake of our second night was yet another Mojave rattlesnake. Wow, these guys are really common out here. Unfortunately, night number 2 was very slow. But at least Olivia was able to see these pretty moths.
So pretty.
It is. That's a pretty moth. The next morning, we saw lots of these colorful beetles. We found a few boards in the area and flipped them to see what we could find. Wait, what was that? Let's check it out again in slow motion to see what it was. There it is, a tarantula. Let's try another board. A snake!
Yes! Whoa, that thing's long. Oh, the red tail is so pretty.
This is a striped whipsnake. It is from the genus Masticophis, which I have heard some people call Nastycophis because of their tendency to be nasty and bitey. This one seems to be not so bad. I was expecting to be bitten by now.
Don't come near me. I'm just the camera person.
There's the Nastycophis I was expecting.
Whoa, the tail is so pretty.
Ah!
Oh, I don't know. That scared me.
Let's go ahead and let this guy go. Once again, we waited for nightfall. This is our third night. This is also the last night that Trish and Olivia are here hunting with me. All three of us are really hoping that we can find our milk snake tonight. If we don't, Trish and Olivia will not get to find a milk snake this year. I will drive back home to drop them off, go to church, and come out again on Monday with another herping partner. Let's hope for Trish and Olivia's sake that we find our first milk snake tonight while we are all together. The first snake found on our third night is, you guessed it, a Mojave rattlesnake. Surprise, surprise. The Mojave rattlesnakes that we've found on this trip have so far all been pretty small, and this one's no different. They've all been about 2 to 2.5 feet long. I do like the colors of the Mojave rattlesnakes up in this area though. They look quite a bit different to me than the Mojave rattlesnakes that I find closer to home. I really like the extreme purple tongues that they have. Take a look at that. Well, unfortunately, that was the only snake that we found out last night. Trish and Olivia were disappointed as I drove them back home without finding a milk snake. But returning home without seeing a milk snake is part of hunting for them. I will be back tomorrow to try again for a couple more days, but now I'm getting a little bit worried. Was I just lucky last year in finding 3, even though they were all roadkills? I'm looking for them a couple of weeks earlier than I did last year, and there hasn't nearly been the same amount of rain as last year. I'm really feeling now that I might have to plan a trip once again for next year in order to find my first Arizona milk snake. The following day I headed back to milk snake country to give it 2 more nights at finding an Arizona milk snake with a new hunting partner. These are the last 2 nights that I have available this season, and if I don't find a live Arizona milk snake, I will have to wait another 12 months for another shot at it. I have to find one this trip. I can't let another year go by. Tonight is warmer than it has been last week, and I'm hoping for better luck. The first snake tonight is this Sonoran gopher snake. This one is a little bit larger and has a little bit more attitude than some of the others we've been seeing. Listen to its hiss, puffing up and trying to scare us away. I love the bright coloration on this guy. I'm going to go ahead and pick him up and get him out of the roadway. Let's see if I can do that without getting bit. Look, I picked him up without getting bit. Whoa! Well, I kinda got a bite. Well, see you later, guy. The next snake that we found shortly later was another Sonoran gopher snake. I went ahead and let this one get on its way so we could return to hunting since the weather seems great. Our third snake of the night was this much larger Mojave rattlesnake. The color on this one is much darker than what we've seen in the other Mojave rattlesnakes. I really like the look of this one. Look at the rattles on this one. What an impressive and beautiful animal. About an hour and a half went by, and then this happened. There's a really small snake in the road. What is it? Can you see it? It's a milk snake. It's my first Arizona milk snake. I can't believe it. It finally happened. No way. Unreal. It's gorgeous. And it's not a DOR. It's alive. Did this really happen? So many years of dreaming and now it has happened? All of the time spent researching, all of the time spent exploring and hunting has now paid off in this one single moment with this one single snake. This is the moment. This snake is just perfect. And what timing! Snakes were moving earlier, but it's now pretty late out, and we haven't seen any other snakes for a couple of hours until this milk snake. Look at how small it is. One common comment that people make when seeing an Arizona milk snake is that they look very similar to what an Arizona mountain king snake looks like. It's true that the colors and the order of the banding makes them look pretty similar. One of the simplest ways to tell the difference, though, is that usually an Arizona mountain king snake has a white snout, while the milk snake has a black snout. Beware, though, because the venomous Sonoran coral snake also has a black snout. I feel so blessed and privileged to have finally been able to find this snake in the wild. This is one lifer experience that I will never forget. What a memorable trip. Subscribe to my channel so I can share more amazing herping experiences with you. Even though we have already found our Arizona milk snake, don't stop watching yet. We have another day yet and a little bit more to the story. Check out this beautiful tarantula hawk that we found while out and about during the day. Here are a few more beautiful insects that we saw on our last day out. This beautiful grasshopper. And then here is a gorgeous butterfly. It's always an amazing feeling once you've found your target animal on a trip. The rest of the time can be spent looking for other herps or exploring new areas. We checked out a few other potential areas for Arizona milk snakes and explored a few canyons. And then we found this pretty little gem. It's a regal ringneck snake. I love finding ringneck snakes in Arizona, and I especially love to see the ones that lack the ring, like this one. Ringneck snakes have bright yellow, oranges, and reds on their ventral scales, and they often display the underside of their tail as a way to ward off predators. See how it's moving its tail from side to side? Ringneck snakes are small snakes. This one is only about 10 to 12 inches in length. I've found a number of ringneck snakes in Arizona throughout the years, but they aren't a snake that I see often, usually only once every couple of years or so. I consider it a treat to have seen an Arizona milk snake and a regal ringneck snake on the same trip. Nightfall finally came, and we herped the evening, which was surprisingly unsuccessful compared to last night. The only snake that we ended up finding was this little desert night snake to close out the trip. Thank you for joining me on my adventure to find my first Arizona milk snake. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any other adventures.